Shit. Oh, what's up, guys? Welcome to Beers and Blockchains. This is Crypto Baron. This is my friend Ian. Ian, toast to our test episode. What are you drinking over there, Ian?
What's that?
What are you drinking over there again?
Oh, Chicharita.
All right. So in that case, I suppose we need. What pronouns are you using these days? Then, what are your pronouns?
Anything more singular than they is not acceptable.
All right, guys. So this is me. I guess I don't know. What I'm doing to move past my terrible anonymous Tron brand, but here we are. This is my one of my old best friends, Ian. He's new to the crypto scene, so I figured we could have a lot of fun introducing him, talking, and having some beers and seeing what happens. We're both halfway lit right now, so anyway. Hi, Ian. How are you?
What's going on, dude? Yeah.
So how long? What were we going to say?
No, I was going to preface this whole thing by saying I keeps it real, so...
You keep it really real, really real. So how long have you been into crypto now? Like brand new, right?
I remember you mentioned it like a while ago, and I was like, it's great.
Yeah.
Where to go? Put my money, and I'll make millions.
I'm gonna walk outside to a bullet in the head from the Yakuza or something like that. Hard pass. Hard pass.
Oh, Crypto Baron.
So we finally meet. Guys, I should also let the audience know, just so they have like a little more fundamental background on you. My friend Ian here is one of the world's leading foremost Holocaust deniers.
Never happened.
just to clear it up for everybody, that's not true. He doesn't think that.
The proof is in the pudding. All right?
Oh my god, that's terrible. Oh shit! So you
this derailed pretty fast, dude. we peeked over the diamond board with like a.
YouTube's already shutting down.
Asian. Hey, we just went.
Now it's gonna be the Yakuza and Mossad are gonna be outside competing to assassinate me.
Oh shit, dude! I'm not saying any more jokes like that.
All right. Okay. So, so you're on Coinbase, and you moved into Bitcoin, Ether, and Litecoin, yeah.
Yeah, and that was only because it was really easy to do. So when you started telling me about that, and I read like this paper, and I read that people got like free cryptocurrencies from mining it, I was like, I'm gonna do that, man. I'm an engineer, and then I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I went straight to Coinbase and like get in there.
Dude, I almost got into mining Bitcoins back in like 2010 when I initially almost bought in when a Bitcoin was like $7. So I remember because I was fucking around, just like I was doing a lot of like playing games with friends, like in my spare time when I wasn't like wrapped up with Taylor and like some school stuff. And I was like, I might as well just set my computer to doing this, but then I just got too lazy. And I got too lazy on the fucking Bit Instant sign up too, so I never actually got in. And then like, it was a thing back in the day. The guy who started it was arrested. Now he's out. Now he's like, he looks a little bit like a mole, but he's great. He's a good person. Advancing them. His name's Charlie Shrem. He's a good guy. I shouldn't say mean.
I never liked him.
Yeah, it was anybody who's like devoting their lives to advance the space. I appreciate them. They're doing more than I am. My shitty YouTube videos with 600 views. I couldn't believe that. This last one only, I guess it was like super mediocre quality because I was like doing
dude, that the last two interviews you did, the one with Saving Private Ryan,
Yeah.
dude, I was laughing so hard. And then the last one, the most interesting coin.
Dude, I love that one. So, yeah, by the way, anybody who saw that, that was me. So we did Snappy from PIVX. He lives in the same region. So we went out and had a bunch of beers, and that was kind of the product of it at the end. And like the rooftop of this really nice hotel in downtown Philadelphia.
Oh, dude.
We got pretty lit. I was super drunk that day, but it was a lot of fun.
All your creativity comes from drinks. What are you drinking, dude?
I'm drinking Leffe, and I'm still a label peeler, so I'm like itching away at that. But this is good stuff. But while I was there in grabbing this, I'm gonna try one. Yeah, maybe after this. Maybe I'll go and grab one after this. But I grabbed.
How many beers do you have, dude? Because I have like a whole cage,
dude,
of pizzeritas.
This is the gayest thing I've ever heard in my life. I once heard a homosexual man say to his partner, "Enter me, enter me, enter me," and that was less gay than you holding up. And by the way, no, I've never actually heard somebody say that. So anyway, I also picked up a thing of it says banana bread beer, so I'm kind of curious. I might have one of those after this.
Yeah, beer's getting pretty good. I remember growing up, the only beers that were kind of like fancy were like Guinness, Heineken, and Budweiser.
Yeah.
And then my family didn't even call it Budweiser. They called it Budweiser.
The fanciest of beers, the Pabst Blue Ribbon. The story behind.
Remember, we used to drink in a barracks. We used to buy a whole case of that for like $5.
No, we used to do Keystone.
Oh, Keystone. Yeah, the Keystone.
Yeah,
well, dude, you can't even get like a case of like Pabst for like $5 anymore. Like it's one beer in a club costs $5 for Pabst. That's madness.
That is madness. So, do you know how Pabst got the Pabst Blue Ribbon name?
Nah.
So I read in the Chicago World's Fair. The same one that H.H. Holmes, the guy who, like, you know, the murder hotel guy, America's most prolific serial killer, absolutely terrible person. He built this entire murder hotel, and he would, like, trick people into staying there that were in town for the World's Fair, and then he just fucking murder them. And, like, he had this entire, like incinerator factory thing where it would go down, like, body disposal chutes. Like, he killed, like, dozens and dozens of people, and because there was so much traffic and it was the 19th century, like it was impossible to find them. So anyway, same World's Fair, global beer contest, and Pabst won the best beer in the world. So that's where the blue ribbon came from, Pabst Blue Ribbon. Now, can you imagine such a sorry ass time where Pabst wins the best beer in the world?
I mean, there was like all these beers everywhere. And they're like, "Oh man, this is the shit."
Can you imagine? Can you imagine the rainwater asshole that the other beers must have tasted like?
No, you know what that's like? That's like being from a small town of like 100 people, and you're like the best dancer there, you know. And then you move to like the big city, totally. And then you gotta battle someone, and you just get fucked up.
That is the worst analogy I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, literally, there's like 4 Asians that are watching this right now that associate with that. And everybody else is like, what the fuck? What a terrible.
We just got
you just got. Oh, man.
So sorry. No, I brought it back to Asian jokes.
So are you so what are you looking to do? Are you going to start like branching out into the altcoin markets? I guess you have to, otherwise this channel doesn't really have much future, does it?
Yeah, dude. I guess we could probably bring some better beers too. No, dude.
Bring a Pabst
today.
Blue Ribbon. It's the cheap.
Dude, today I was researching Ripple, like you told me not to.
Oh my god!
Nothing, by the way.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, and I got a little bit because I saw this other dude saying it was going to go up like 30, 40 times.
Everything is going to go up 30, 40 times. That's why I love it.
You think?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of the crazy things about this. Like when I first got in, the markets were only like 10 billion, which especially now seems like absolutely nothing, because we just crossed 100. By the way, congratulations everybody for the crossing of the $150 billion mark. So we crossed 150 billion in less than like a year. So it's like 15x growth overall. So now the concern might be that we're nearing maturity and growth is going to slow down, and you know, how much more room is there to go? Is this a bubble? And to do that, you need to look at like broader issues, like what's the global GDP if we're going to translate the entire global value essentially to be reflected on the blockchain. I think this is the well, technologically speaking, the fourth industrial revolution. And as far as I lost my train of thought.
So crypto these nuts, dude.
It should have been. This is why it's beers first, then blockchains. Everybody.
I told my mom to watch this.
Or beer Ritas, whatever. Yeah, your mom's gonna call you, Ian. You're not actually a Holocaust denier.
I just look at my Facebook. Everyone's like, "The fuck, dude."
All right, hold on. I'm gonna grab one of those. I have it real close, but I'm gonna get one of those.
Oh yeah.
One of them banana bread beers, man. One of them banana bread beers, man.
Nice bud. Oh shit! Check out my shot glass, everyone.
Oh shit!
What?
All right, guys. This is a Wells banana bread beer. All right. See how this goes. See how this goes, man. So yes. So the value, it's the biggest wealth.
Cheers, dude.
Cheers, man. Cheers, man.
I got a shot of vodka in here.
Cheers, man. Oh, fired up. Trying to make up for the fucking strawberry Rita or whatever. I heard that this. Oh, yeah, it's pretty good. I heard that the that 12-pack of strawberry Ritas that you got comes with a coupon for Kotex tampons.
How do you know, dude?
Is that true or false? Can you
Can
you confirm or deny? Oh,
okay,
all right. So anyway, what I was saying, I think this is going to be the biggest wealth transfer in history taking place right now.
So I was reading that people think these cryptocurrencies are going to replace like paper money. Like paper money will go down and cryptocurrencies will go up. Is that true?
Well, I think paper money is just going away either way. We're moving towards a cashless society, and I know a lot of governments are pushing it because it also helps them with AML issues, anti-money laundering stuff, because there's much more of a trail that they can track, and then they can freeze accounts. They have that kind of control. And then with blockchain's so transparent because everything's indelibly placed, but of course everybody's wallet is cryptographically locked, so people won't know who you are. But that's one of the reasons that I think privacy coins like your PIVX, your Monero, your ZCash are important. So I'm
all private
in a sense, but at the same time, like if somebody knows, like if they've got some sort of back door where they can identify like what wallet addresses go to what people, then they literally have a ledger of every transaction taking place, and they can see everything that you buy or who you give money to or where you get money from. And it's a really slippery slope. Like that's dangerous. So that's one of the reasons that I like privacy features. But a lot of the bigger chains like Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to be implementing some more privacy-based upgrades, confidential transactions, and some things like that. So the entire space is making progress, but I still like to lean into the some of the privacy coins.
Dude, back to the market cap of 150 billion, right? That's a shitload of money, dude.
It's 150. Yeah, it sure is. But like, if you look at
what is that though? Like, is that like how much cryptocurrency has been sold into all the fiat currencies?
No, I can see how that's kind of confusing, but it's not necessarily even how much money's been put into it. It's just what the current like reflective value is, if that makes sense. Like what something's traded, like everything's kind of worth what the purchaser will pay for it. That's an ancient like 15th century, some sort of fucking Italian merchant quote. Anyway, but regardless, so like the market cap of Bitcoin is established by, we know how many Bitcoins exist right now. I think right now it's like 16, 17 million, but we know that 21 million is the max capacity for Bitcoin.
And what year?
Yeah, you can take like what the price something is trading at right now, and then you multiply that by how many coins exist, and then that's where the market cap comes from. Because if people are willing to pay, you know, $4,500 for every single Bitcoin, and there's, you know, so many Bitcoins, and you multiply that together and you say, okay, well, if you wanted to buy every Bitcoin, here's how much it would cost. Now, it's not a super accurate reflection, because if somebody's got a ton of them and they want to sell them like all at once, obviously then you have supply and demand mismatches, and then it shifts the market cap. So it's like equilibrium toying. But one of the really exciting things for me about crypto is, and why like a lot of people call it like this new digital gold rush, is because there's a limited supply. Like it's so finite. You know, and like the Bitcoin has, we'll take Bitcoin for example. So as Bitcoin progresses, they have the block rewards. Do you know what that means? All right. All right. So for the miners, when the miners validate the blockchain, like for their incentive, they get rewarded in Bitcoin. Okay. Ooh. So early on, it was really easy to solve the puzzle. It was easy. You see, I laughed like a Japanese anime girl, like schoolgirl too. I was like, yeah, exactly. All right. So anyway, oh my God, nobody's yeah, everybody shut this off a long fucking time ago. So anyway,
wait, this is private, right?
Yeah. So. Okay. But like after I am probably gonna post this later, so this will still go to the channel as the beers and blockchains test run intro, and then as soon as I go to oh fuck, so I'm sidetracking. Let me finish the block reward discussion, and then I'll talk about going to Australia this weekend. All right, all right. So early on, it was really easy to validate because there weren't that many like his.
Your mom's easy to validate.
Maybe I don't know. All right. So it was easy to validate, and then the block rewards were also. So let's say the block rewards were bigger than this early on, but let's say they were like 100 Bitcoin. Oh shit! I don't know. Actually, that might be right. Anyway, so eventually it hits a certain point where it halves. So then the block rewards become 50, then they become 25, and then 12. You know, on and on and on and on. So you have like a supply inflation, like diminishing drastically, like exponentially. And at the same time, you know, you're seeing on Google Trends and everything like that, the interest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies ramping up. So you have this like moment of equilibrium as they pass, and then it's just going to be a skyrocket to the moon, as we say in the space.
Dude, I see people say, don't say it's going to the moon. And number two, dude,
everything's going to the fucking moon.
Dude, is it too late to get in this?
Negative Nancy's. Negative Nancy's. No, it's not too late. So you need to look at, like I said, all right, so it's $150 billion now. But that's really nothing compared to the actual market space for this stuff. Like, just like M2 money supplies, like around the globe, are worth like $100 trillion. Bond markets are worth like $100 trillion. Stock markets are worth, excuse me, like $100 trillion. Derivatives markets are measured in the quadrillions. So if you really want to talk about the potential that the space has to go, it's just astronomical. Or for an even more conservative example, look at gold. Gold is worth like $10 trillion. So 150 billion is a little more than 1% of the valuation of gold for something with way more utility, quite frankly. Like, yes, gold can be used in some jewelry, electronic applications, store of value stuff, but like it's actually kind of a shitty store of value in comparison. Like if I wanted, and people do it to kind of isolate themselves from any type of market appreciation, which should have good reason to now. Markets are trading at such an inflated price to earnings ratio in the U.S. Markets that it's almost criminal to recommend them, especially right now with the geopolitical issues that are going on. And then the bonds markets are also fucking garbage. And then you'd have to brave that fucking garbage and potentially getting defaulted on just to essentially get like a 3 to 4% if you're really lucky yield, which, like I said, just by holding like a staking coin like PIVX, I get effectively about a 10% yield rate, you know, and that's outside of the, like, God knows, I think PIVX has gone up like 25,000% or something like that.
Dude,
so far this year. Like I've gotten, yeah, I've been there for like 2 to 2,500% of it, depending on where it is right now. Yeah, when Zero Coin comes out, it's gonna blow up pretty good too. I'm pretty excited about that.
Zero Coin?
Yeah, it's a privacy feature. It's a really
dude. Hold on. So why are there so many coins? And like, how do you have that much time to study like each one? And like, where do you go with that information?
I don't think anybody has time to study each one. But if you, especially if you're like really in tune with the crypto community, you can kind of see like a really good project rising. You can see, especially like when good legitimate teams come up, like BAT originally. That's one of the reasons that BAT was an ICO months ago that everybody wanted in on and barely anybody got into, because like, you know, some people bought up like tens of millions of dollars worth of this thing right out the gate, and they set like a responsible valuation too. Like they were capping the ICO at like $30 million. Even the guy that is starting this idea is the guy who like invented JavaScript and a whole bunch of other, like, he's super legit, and it's a really cool advertising revenue sharing concept too. So, you know, projects like that, people recognize, word of mouth spreads. But for some other stuff, yeah, you definitely have to dig a lot deeper. Like Agrello and Blockcat, the two things that I just featured in my last video just a couple days ago. And this super shitty video that nobody watched that I made while out in Ohio. But anyway, these two things, they're both projects that are like built on bringing smart contracts to much more user-friendly, like with templates and stuff like that, to actual users. Agrello had a better team, and but they were valuing themselves at like around like 50 million bucks or something like that. And Blockcat was only raising like, I think they only raised like $7 million total. So it's a lot easier to get bigger returns with like a smaller cap thing, because it's like, you know, let's say Agrello goes to like $100 million, you've doubled your money. And if Blockcat goes to $50 million, if they only accomplish half as much, then you're like 7 times your money. So it's a lot better. And Blockcat's already 4x'd since then in only a week.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
4x'd?
4 times. Like, it's gone up 4 times in value.
Oh.
Yeah. So I put in some money, and now it's worth 4 times as much. Dear any potential viewers from the IRS, I am very much looking forward to paying all my taxes. Everything.
Yeah, right, dude.
Stop it.
Go to Jamaica.
So, yeah.
No, dude. Wait, hold on. Quick question. Hold on. So, cap is at like 150 billion, and that you said like all these other like markets that people are used to have like 100 trillion.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
say if the market cap like got lowest to like 1 trillion, like really super modest.
Yeah.
And you just invested in like the first like 10. That's like got to be something, right?
Yeah, dude. If everything, if it only goes to 1 trillion, which is 10% of the total value of gold, then you're talking 7 times growth from where we are right now.
Whoa.
Yeah. 1 trillion divided by 150, it's a little under 7. So the potential is absolutely mammoth. I'm so excited about all this. And I have been excited like all year. I've been so obsessed. Obviously, I've been obsessed to the point where I made like this YouTube channel just because I can't shut up and stop bothering like everybody I know about all this stuff. And I really
Where'd you get that T-shirt from, dude?
What's that? I got it from the actual PIVX people. I got it from Snappy from PIVX. Shout out to Snappy. He also turned me on to some Belgian double beers that were absolutely incredible. But yeah, he's a super cool guy, man. He's out here though. I'm sure at some point we'll have him on the show. Have him on the Beers and Blockchain show. Oh, what's up, pup?
It's my dog Biscuit.
Dude, my super hot surgeon girlfriend just got a new little puppy. And it's under 3 pounds. Like, I usually like bigger dogs, but this is like the cutest thing in the world. It's ridiculous.
You just like glossed over 3 awesome things in one sentence.
I know.
Puppies, hot girls, and a surgeon. What the fuck?
So yeah, so this is like obviously this is going incredibly well, and we're probably going to have billions and billions of viewers. After episode 3, we're going to pass PewDiePie in subs.
Wait, dude, hold on. If we get some quality cameras, we get some like, because I have like an echo effect in my ears right now, so it's kind of like making me talk like 10% slower than I'm used to.
Yeah.
See your nipples.
Well, I could always just take my pants off. two more of these banana bread beers, and you never know. Oh my god! So Australia. So we'll start doing this every week, especially when I get back from Australia.
Oh yeah, dude, you going to Australia?
Yeah, I'm going to Australia on Sunday.
What's going on with that?
Yeah, I'm gonna go scuba dive the Great Barrier Reef like a bunch of times before the fucking thing dies.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Like a bunch of it's been bleached or something.
Yeah, well, it's not. It's a little exaggerated. Like you'll get, but that's the media these days, where everything's exaggerated for clicks.
Fake news.
Right. But it is dying, and it'll probably, I don't know. I'm not a fucking oceanographer or a marine biologist by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's like 4 generations or something like that. It's gonna last. I'll probably have some Australian viewers that are like, "Hey, shithead, no, you're totally wrong, and don't come to our fucking country/continent. You're not welcome."
They just there at the airport.
As soon as I get off the airplane, there's gonna be a Yakuza man waiting for me from Japan.
There's gonna be Japanese, Jewish, Australians.
Mm-hmm. He's like, "I heard you said something bad about Ripple." Like, ah.
Oh yeah, that's like blown up in Asia, right? Ripple's like all over like China, Japan, and they got some weird countdown going on right now.
Well, all the cryptos themselves are really blowing up in Southeast Asia. Like that's if you go to CoinMarketCap and you pull up the volume, like a lot of the volume is like Korea and China. That's what
you can tell what country it's from.
Hmm?
You can tell what country it's from and everything.
Yeah, well, yeah, they'll show you like what exchange it is, or like what exactly it's trading with. Like if it's like yuan to the dollar, the Korean whatever the fuck their symbol is.
Is it a won?
I don't know. Like I don't know what South Korea's like money is called. Like pop stars.
It's peso or something, right?
In Korea? What?
Dude, that's pretty interesting, man. So the thing I heard about Ripple was banking system. Correct me if I'm wrong, but banking systems in Japan and China and potentially South Korea are like in the network or the platform, but they're not using the XRP token. Is that correct?
Yeah, so a lot of this stuff gets like more abstract. Like as soon as you start getting into like private chains, and then how does that actually increase the value through like a network effect? And that's like more abstract, but I guess like just beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Like if they manage to have people think that there's like a bunch of value because a bunch of banks are using it, the more power to them. I subscribe to that belief like when it comes to the coins that I actually like, so I guess I should just shut my trap about Ripple. Like
yeah, dude,
like when Ethereum like announces like a bunch of new people like to the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, I'm like, this is huge news. But then if Ripple like announces like, hey, banks are going to use our stuff on private chains, I'm like, who gives a shit? So, I should shut up. I should shut up.
Dude, so what's the difference between Ripple and IOTA? Because I had heard that IOTA is pretty much the same thing as Ripple. Is that true? Or
no? So IOTA's got like some really cool new technology stuff, like the way that they work their thing. It's called the Tangle, and the way that it works is it actually gets like more efficient the larger it gets, and like the more transactions that take place, and like it gets to a point where it's like, or it may already be at the point where it's zero fee. I can't remember right now because I'm like like 8 deep. Like
let everyone at home see your eyes. Just getting really close.
What?
Oh, not like that, dude. You gotta slowly blink too.
that was terrible. You're gonna see that in my nightmares. As I can't begin to explain how many embarrassing stories that this guy could tell about me.
Dude, how many times have I seen your penis?
What's that?
How many times have I seen your penis?
Like
I can't count on one hand, dude.
Specifically entering your mouth, or
just so much meat.
Oh, that is fucking ridiculous. Are you looking into moving into new exchanges and grabbing it? Where did you get Ripple at? Where did you go to buy Ripple? Palo?
Yo, dude, I'm proud of myself how I figured that out, because that was not easy. So check this out. I had to look up on like 3 different YouTubes. I got GateHub, the wallet.
Oh, okay.
It's some like English one or something like that. Or sorry if it's not English, but I got that one.
The website, like the repository, GitHub?
No, not GitHub. GateHub.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess you can't just straight up buy Ripple or whatever. It's super hard.
You gotta buy.
So I had to
like through them.
Yeah, you have to get a wallet first, a Ripple wallet, and then you have to find some kind of exchange that will exchange Bitcoin to XRP. So I guess you get more XRP if you use Bitcoin rather than USD. So I did that, and it's like I was doing the math on Changely, and it was like you get double XRP using half the money on Bitcoin than you would USD.
What kind of fees did they charge you on Changely though? Changely is pretty high.
I think it was like right under $5.
I mean, oh, is that all for the whole thing?
Yeah, but I didn't do that much.
Okay.
Like for
All right.
Because you told me I just did it just in case it multiplied by like 1,000 times, and I was like, oh, I could pay off my car.
Ripple's probably pretty big to multiply by 1,000 times. I don't see that one happening. But there are some like smaller altcoins that you, like if you find, you know, like $1 million coin, something like that, that's a really cool project. You know, it's really easy for a coin to blow up to like $100 million valuation, then cash out.
That'd be so
rich as fuck.
What?
I know. Dude, that Ethereal Casino is my first ever like 100x investment. That was so great. Like it's effectively the price that it like ICO'd at in terms of US dollar. Like Ethereum's gone up in value a lot with it, but it was like effectively like 5 cents a pop for.
So it's
like
it's the same thing as like gambling money. Is that it?
No. So it's potential, it has the potential to run afoul of some like U.S. regulators if they ever decide to run a little deeper in, because it's much more of a security, and I think it's one of the reasons that it's not really getting not likely to get listed on U.S. exchanges, is because you have the token essentially shows ownership in the casino, and you can use it to collect profits, and on top of that, it's also like, you know, gambling. Is this like a thing? So yeah. So that's that one's a little more of a slippery slope, but I think they should be looking at that Binance exchange. Like Binance is this new exchange that I just got in on because you can actually buy Binance tokens themselves, and they're using like you can pay your fees in the Binance. So that's one of the ways that they're generating demand for the Binance token, and they cut the fees in half, and then they're also using like profits to burn the tokens. So Binance is a really cool project that I think is going to have, because the volume is just absolutely sick. Like it's got like, you know, like top 10 crypto coin volume right now. Anyway,
dude, I got a question.
Yeah.
What does that mean when keep hearing that burning off tokens. Does that mean that they're destroyed or something?
Yes. So remember how earlier I was saying that you establish like the market cap of a project by taking the price of the project and multiplying it by how many coins exist? So like on projects that do like a buyback and burn, like Binance does, Economy does, they're generating buy pressure by being the ones that buy it back, and they're also at the same time like using it to burn the token, so they're restricting the supply. So like short term, sometimes it might take some time. Like Economy for me is a multi-year play. I have absolutely no intention of selling it. I don't really give a shit about the short-term price because, you know, Economy takes off, especially, oh dude, this is really exciting. So Economy is like a financial platform. Okay. Think like a Merrill Lynch. Merrill Lynch, who I used to work for.
No, the other word before you said that, Biconomy? Is that what you said?
Iconomy is what it's called.
Iconomy.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, dude, so Iconomy runs like effectively like a Merrill Lynch platform, and they have like crypto indexes, like this thing called ICNX or this other one called ICNP, where they invest in ICOs, and like it's more of a performance fund, which is where the P comes from. So anyway, they use like 20% of their overall profits to buy back the ICN token and burn them. They haven't burned too many now, but one of the things that they do is they're starting new funds, so letting people like launch like through their platform. And one of the new ones that they announced is this group called Columbus Capital. But the thing about Columbus Capital is Economy claims that Columbus Capital is going to be listed on traditional stock exchanges. So you'll
that'll be a first.
Right. So you'll be able to buy like a crypto ETF through a stock exchange, and it will all benefit Economy. It would be just a fucking avalanche of money. Now I'm skeptical because I don't know how it would actually like work like in a regulatory sense. But if they manage to be first to market with something like this, it'll be absolutely huge. But yeah, it's really cool. A lot of people aren't respecting the platform of like a buyback and burn because they wanted like a dividend thing. But I think it's a long term, it's going to be much more effective to actually generate that buy pressure and then use it to like shrink the supply side, which only will on the very back end make the increase even more exponential once you pass equilibrium of supply and demand.
So do these people have like a timeline when they have to make a certain amount of money? Like, I mean, obviously to like stay in business, but I mean like.
No, because they ICO for so much fucking money. Like everything in the space is so well funded, or you know, like, and quite frankly, a lot of coins are overvalued. A lot of coins have inflated valuations that they deserve.
Like
Ripple, like Ripple.
Fuck you, man.
Let me look at what Ripple's valued right now, just so I can.
I think it was like 25 cents when I looked earlier, and it jumped up from 16 cents, and I was going to invest at 16 cents, and you said, "Nah, dude, don't be a dummy."
But it's actually like a $10 billion valuation, which is fucking insane for Ripple. In my
yeah, I saw that. Like, it has like a really high market cap, but it's like so cheap.
Dude, listen, I'm no like fucking super coder tech savant by any stretch of the imagination, but it's my understanding that NEM is like similar, now, but like superior technology and like transactions per second and everything else, and it's still valued at like a quarter of it. So I think once they get on the hype train, they're gonna blow up real strong.
Dude, you know what?
Sorry.
Like, obviously, this is probably really hard, but I feel like the only thing holding back all this stuff is not having like one app like Coinbase that does like every cryptocurrency, and you can just like scan it and like use it. Yeah, like use it as like wallet or something. Like, if you can...
right. And we're getting there. Like the infrastructure, there's so much institutional investment going on right now. Like not just into the currencies themselves. In fact, it's more like into the actual blockchain tech itself, and you know, companies to actually like gateway this stuff. So more user-friendly shit is along the way, because that's another thing. Like, it's just simply not ready for mass adoption yet. But that's one of the great things about being early, is you get in early, and then when mass adoption comes, you like Scrooge McDucking. I'm gonna put a fucking treasure vault in my new house where I just Scrooge McDuck. It's just gonna be filled with gold coins.
You should put the crypto baron mask on Scrooge McDuck and just have it swimming through the.
That'll be all the money off Ripple Rubes like yourself.
Yeah, I'm primed to be taken advantage of and all these things, you know.
Tying yourself up in a blindfold on the bed. Don't come get me, sir. How dare you? The door is not wide open. My, what big teeth you have.
Dude, you know what I think is pretty exciting about this initially? Well, I was like, oh, yo, I can put my money in something like PIVX or something. I don't know. 2 years later, I can pay off my student loans, and then I hear like what you're saying about that like market cap, potential market cap, and then I hear like John McAfee saying that each Bitcoin is gonna be worth over like $500,000
dick on national television.
Yeah, he's gonna like chew his own dick off or something.
First of all, McAfee's totally a lunatic. I don't know how much you know about this guy, but like,
yo, you gotta watch his.
Don't say anything like about his alleged murder because I think that you can get in trouble for.
Interesting though. Okay, allegedly, this dude was seeing like special forces storm his beach house, and like he was like watching them go to his house, but they like weren't really there. Allegedly, but also allegedly, he made this drug that made him like super horny, and he was getting like the local girls in this drug too, allegedly, and he was boning all of them, and he had this lab. It's like out of a movie, and the only reason why they caught him was because allegedly these Vice photographers and reporters geotagged that picture by accident, and they caught this dude. And like he was out in dudes on speedboats. Like this guy had like an arsenal, man. And I'm like, this guy's on CNN. He was like allegedly running a drug lab like a year ago.
He runs like the biggest Bitcoin mine in the United States now.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, thanks to his partnership with Jihad Wu over in China. That'll all be shot. I shouldn't say shit about him anymore. Jian, you are You are handsome and kind, good sir. He runs BitBay. He like makes like right. Like fucking like a super skinny nerdy version of Chun-Li from Bloodsport. Remember?
Dude, the Japanese Jewish.
Do you remember that movie? You remember Bloodsport?
Yeah, right, dude. Who doesn't?
Remember the big American guy with the bandana and the big guy? You remember when he's like, you like when Chun-Li, he's like, yeah. Like he like headbutts him and like Chun-Li goes down, so he's celebrating, and then he gets his ass whipped for it. And then Van Damme's got to get revenge with his bandana tied around his leg. Because that's what Van Damme.
How badass was that though, dude? Remember when
everybody wanted to be Van Damme when they were younger, and then we grew up and realized he's the biggest douche in the world. I was like, oh.
Dude, I still love him, dude. I forgive him for all his faults just because I looked up to him so much. Dude.
Did you like the movie Cyborg was my fucking favorite? That was
dude,
so good.
He was doing that split in the hallway, and then he was like this. Yes, dude. Dude, he would like sock someone, and then
for some
the second part of the punch was like
Atlanta. Why do they have to go to Atlanta? What's in Atlanta? I've been to Atlanta. It's not that great, man. It's not that great.
Yo, if you haven't seen Double Impact, you ain't lived your life, dude. You gotta like stop everything.
Yeah, unless you're watching,
take a day off of work,
unless you go with your family, and then there's that. Then you're like an early teenager, and there's that hot sex scene with like Van Damme, and like
every time
you're like, oh my god, I can't stand up and get popcorn. This is embarrassing. Not now. What happened?
Yo, dude. Every single one of his movies had a sex scene, dude. And like it was like not short. It was like a minute long.
Dude, I'm so down to retitle this entire show Beers, Blockchains, and Van Damme. And Van Damme movies for a third of the show every time.
We're just like Yo, dude, I remember my dad. I remember he was
doing splits. Like we go around and do splits.
We're all showing up upside down on the screen. Yeah, dude, I remember being like 5 years old, and my dad used to take me like every single action movie, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Steven Seagal, Jean-Claude Van Damme. But Jean-Claude Van Damme was special, dude, because of all the sex scenes. 6 years old, like looking at these sex scenes, and my dad was just like enthralled, like, yeah, Van Damme's a man of character, you know? And I'm like, oh, dude, I gotta be like Van Damme, man. And you know, like after the movie ends, there's always like this weird energy when you're walking out the theater, and I always felt like Van Damme, but I always like wanted to be humble. And then my dad would like, oh, how'd you like the movie, you know? And I'm like, oh, get off me, because I was ashamed. I was acting like Van Damme. You know? I don't
know. That's amazing, dude. Let me grab one banana bread beer. I'll be back in.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I'm here.
All right, cool, man.
Oh yeah, this thing's still on, huh? Hey guys. So how about in the comments you let us know how it's going, and if you have any questions.
Well, nobody's watching it live, so that's not.
I know, but if in the future when you edit it and then they ask questions, you know.
I mean, for future episodes. Dude, I have oh no, never mind. I'm gonna do. I'll put that in a regular episode. I just found out that like people can send you messages on YouTube. Did you know that?
What? Oh yeah.
Send you messages. I had no idea that there was this section. So I've got like 6 months worth of messages from like people, and like I feel bad.
Dude, how many dick pics have you gotten, dude?
Never enough.
It's like the Matrix, just dicks flying past you.
Never enough. But I can fucking Neoing ant shares. So this oh my god. So this actually, like, I hate that this happened. Because I remember somebody like when it was like $1 or $1.50, there was this thing called ant shares. People that watch this channel are like, we know about ant shares, get to the fucking point. What are you talking to this retard?
Dude, I'm like the worst person to talk about this stuff.
No. I think it's good.
People's moms get on here. This is like the perfect page to learn about this.
Right.
Like if you like.
That's jokes. The point. Right. Because I think it'll be, you know, everybody can kind of come up together at this point. Like, you're new, walk through this, growing pains. We'll live stream our way to the top. Started from the bottom. Now we're here. So, what was I just saying?
Oh, dude.
Answer. Oh yeah. So like I remember hearing about this, and they were like, oh, it's like the Ethereum of China or something like that, when it was like $1.50, and I was like, oh, I need to write a note to remind myself to buy some, and I forgot. Like, I totally forgot. And then it blew up to like $7.50, and I was like, fuck, now it's too expensive. And then it blew up to like 15, and I hated myself for not buying it at $7.50. But then it dropped back down to $7.50, so then I did buy it, and then it blew up to $40, and I was like,
oh, dude.
Yeah, they rebranded into, that was the whole point of the story. So they rebranded from Ant Shares to Neo. And,
oh,
yeah, so Neo, yeah, it's a Matrix reference.
Yo, dude. Top like 2 or 3 mistakes you made, dude. Because I know mine's probably gonna be.
I got scammed. I got scammed out of what's now a lot of money. Back then, it wasn't that big of a deal. So like, there's Slack channels where you can like talk to somebody, but I didn't realize, like, this was like early into the game for me, that they have like, there's scammers who will like, they'll pretend that there's somebody, you know, like they'll you know, they can obviously put up the same picture and like put up the same name, but like put a period in, but like at the end where like the name's cut off, so you think you're getting a message from somebody. So like, somebody reached out to me about joining an arbitrage group. Like, arbitrage is a financial move where you can like buy on one exchange where something like it takes advantage of exchange inefficiencies. So let's say, just to give super even numbers, let's say there's like, I don't know, something like, we'll use PIVX since we've talked about it a couple times this show. Let's say PIVX is $2 on one exchange, and then it's $2.25 at the same time on another exchange. Like you can buy it. What you would do is you'd buy it at $2 on the one exchange while simultaneously at the same exact time selling it for $2.25 on the other exchange. So all you'd have to do, yeah, so you just have to keep a balance of the same thing. Like you can do it. They have arbitrage bots that take advantage of it. It's just some of the issues like crypto, like fees kind of make it difficult to even make it worthwhile. But it does happen. It does work. And there was a somebody messaged me about like a really good arbitrage opportunity, or so I thought. I was also pretty drunk at the time. So I was like, oh,
the Nigerian prince,
yeah, I know. This sounds like a good idea, and I trust this person. Like, I'll go in. But it wasn't them. It was like probably some fucking Yakuza slime bag, actually. Like hindsight. And like, I didn't send them much because I didn't like, I didn't necessarily like fully trust it. So I was like, all right, so this first time, like, I'm only going to send you this amount. And you know, obviously if this works out, I'll send more like in the future. And they just took it and ran. They just like, so like, and here's the thing, you ready to get fucking sick to your stomach? So the amount that I sent them was 100 Ethereum, which is now $32,000.
Oh, dude.
I know, right?
What can you do, man?
I know.
That's how I feel like.
You win some, you lose some. That I did like a little bit of margin trading, and I won like early on margin trading, but then I got burned pretty hard.
Oh, margin trading.
It's essentially where you borrow from an exchange, and you're like, let's say like you know, Bitcoin like crashed like 2000 or something like that, and you were like, no way it's going lower. I want to get as much as I can, so you could like margin trade where you would like put your own Bitcoin up as collateral to borrow even more, so that way you have like twice as much. But it's
that though.
Well, Paulo does it, but like at this point, like Paulo's dying. You want to stay away from. In fact, the problem is American exchanges. Like you really want to stay away from American altcoin exchanges. Like Coinbase is fine. Coinbase does like, and that's one of the reasons that Coinbase is so discerning, and they only offer the 3 coins is because they don't want to run afoul of U.S. regulators like the SEC, and which is an entirely different thing because the SEC is really just trying to protect traditional financial markets by dragging their feet on crypto progress. And it's sad because it's making innovation leave the United States. Like a lot of the crypto space and ICOs, they specifically block American participants because they're so scared of the SEC. But it's like, well, now American citizens are getting fucked, and we're supposed to be like, you know, the freest people. But regulation gets us again.
I was like, oh man.
I know.
Yo,
like,
dude.
But they're doing that to protect because they like Wall Street runs the SEC. Like, spoiler alert.
Yo, but dude, that's kind of like the mentality of everyone I talk to. 5% of people that I speak with about like cryptocurrencies. They're just like, yeah, it's not gonna go anywhere. It's gonna drop out. You know, it's like a scam. All this stuff. I remember like in 2013, I had a chance to buy Bitcoin like hella cheap.
Yeah.
I think it was like $200, something ridiculous. I don't know.
Crash,
but and then like my buddy's like, oh, you should get into this, and 12 or 11 coins or something. And I was like, like drug dealers use that, dude. You know, because like I said that because my roommate, who was an accountant in the professional world, literally told me that same sentence. I did like zero research in between, missed it for years because of that.
Well, there is some of that. It's definitely you know, big in the criminal underground because of some of the privacy features that it has. But by comparison, the biggest like you know, form of value exchange that's used for the indeed the biggest you know, method of value exchange for the criminal underground or terrorist organizations and things like that is the US dollar, and you don't see anybody cracking down on that. So it's kind of ridiculous. But on that note, yes, that's one of the things that they've used to kind of defame and delegitimize this stuff because it's a superior technology. Like those people don't actually understand what the blockchain is, what kind of value that it adds, what it does, or even the potential size and power of peer-to-peer economic transactions. Like, this isn't just like, oh, we're going to make a bunch of money. Like, this is like a big revolution. Like, this really is. Like, it's the ability to remove the trustless third party from any value exchange interaction. Like, it's literally priceless. Like, if I want to pay you money in a traditional way, what I'm effectively doing is asking my bank permission to pay your bank, and then your bank to pay you. Like, it's ridiculous that I have money and I'm asking other people permission, and then you have to ask your people permission to take it from there too. And it's like, why can't I just fucking exchange the value directly to you? And now we can. And then you have something like Ethereum where smart contracts come into play, and that's just going to revolutionize every interaction that we have, because you can do things like you know, like things that like Grello and Blockcat are making more user friendly, where people are able to like, imagine like a rent, like a rental agreement, like a lease agreement, that you can actually like legally bind into the blockchain or put into a smart contract where people can't like invalidate it. Or one of the things that I like to think of when this like starts to hit like mass adoption, like imagine like imagine like some sort of like social program, or like some sort of social welfare program, like a welfare payment, right? So let's say the government pays welfare, but they use like a smart contract crypto. And governments at some point will probably make their own cryptos to try and compete, and it'll be a national cryptocurrency. But at that point, I think they'll be increasingly irrelevant. That's a conversation for later down the road. So anyway, they could code like half of it could go towards rent, 25% towards food, and 25% towards discretionary spending. I mean, the amount of revolutionary stuff that this takes, or the ability for companies that are usually competitors but have like supply chain compatibilities to like work together. It's really exciting stuff. I'm incredibly looking forward to it. And Ethereum's kind of like the platform that a lot of these decentralized apps are getting built on top of. It's more like the highway. And like some of these dApps, as they're called, are the life is a highway. They're gonna ride it all night long.
I had like 8 questions, dude. So
I know. Well, I still have a million questions. I've been.
Yeah. Hold on though. So, damn, where do you even start with that? I forgot all my questions. That's what happens to the 2 shots and a couple pizzeritas. Yeah, dude. You know another thing too? Every time I talk about this stuff with like my family, my friends, or anything like that, like their eyes just kind of gloss over. Like when I talk about
it's so abstract. It's super abstract still. Like, because and one of the things that's big, like a big issue for this, is our economy, like Western, like our Western North American, is it at least north of the Mexican border, has really efficiently functioning economies. Like, we have banking systems that work, we have, you know, stock markets, things like that, that are all actually like functioning pretty well. But other places don't really have that luxury, like Venezuela, where inflation is just completely out of control and you need a backpack full of cash to be able to buy groceries. So like
Tanzania is the same problem too, right?
Tons of places are having these problems, or a lot of places just don't even have access to banking at all. And this isn't just like a luxury, speculative thing for them. For some of them, it's really like a way of life, whether they're gonna you know, make it or not. So
damn, dude.
Yeah,
it's intense.
So it's really like, yeah.
Yo, so what do you think about, like, okay, I was watching on YouTube and then I'm seeing it more on my news feed, like on Google and Yahoo, but everyone's predicting a recession, a big recession to happen from September to like spring, you know, like within a 1-year time frame. If a recession hits United States, what's that going to do for the cryptocurrencies?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of people think that people will flee to crypto as a safe haven, but at the same time, it may also cause a dip in cryptos because people may be taking those profits to, you know, put them towards things that they actually need in real life, like especially if they're economically hurting, like if they lose their job or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Then sometimes you might need to sell your, so it could create a lot of sell pressure. So the people that are looking forward to that shouldn't be, even though, you know, global reset, like a mild global recession may be for the best. So crypto, did you know crypto was invented because of the last recession?
Yes. Well,
Satoshi Nakamoto?
Yeah, he's actually Australian, dude.
No, he's not. Craig Wright is not actually Satoshi, dude.
It's not him?
No, he's
I
a
thought
liar.
they validated his like address or something like that.
No, Craig's a scammer that used that to like to further his like personal companies and
motherfucker, dude.
Yeah, he
got me, dude.
He's a unique guy, that's for sure. Yeah, no, Craig's absolutely not Satoshi. But Satoshi, I personally, like, I'm a firm believer that Satoshi Nakamoto is dead.
Why?
All right, so whoever Satoshi is has 1 million Bitcoins, dude, and has never touched a single penny of it. Can you imagine having $5 billion and never touching a penny? Like, who is that person? Who is that, like, outside of Bill Gates, who would be like, fuck it, who cares, you know?
Dude.
So, I'm
imagine,
convinced he's dead.
Yo, dude, but you know what, though? A weird thing happens to people who get a lot of money. So, background story. You know, after the Marines, I did catering in Miami, right?
Oh, Wesley Snipes story? I love this story. When you call him Daywalker. Yeah, dude. So this guy worked at one of Wesley Snipes' parties, and he called him Daywalker from Blade, and Wesley Snipes was like ready to kill him.
Well, dude, I was like, oh, the Daywalker, and he's like, what's up, cracker? I was like, I'll have you know, I'm Colombian. I look this way, you know. Yeah, no, dude, that didn't even get me. What it got me was at the party in the Versace mansion. This guy was a lawyer for a lot of famous celebrities, okay, and they had this PowerPoint presentation, little slideshow of pictures going off on the screen in a little courtyard at the Versace mansion. Mind you, while this is going on, there's girls, models, see-through clothes and everything like that. And they're like tears in the eyes because the video is so sweet. It shows this lawyer. He grew up in the harsh streets, dude. And he went to college, like summa cum laude, everything, dude. Just murdered everything.
I was summa cum laude. I was summa cum laude undergrad. I had a 399. I was also
far from that. I don't even know what that is.
Did I ever tell you that when I finished my MBA, I was they give you like this exam. There's like every MBA in the nation has to take it so they can like rank you against each other. And I was like top 96%. Yeah, so I was like shitting on like Harvard MBAs, like, and Sloan MBAs, like out of my way.
Sloan MBAs?
Yeah, it's a good school.
Well, I'm proud of you.
Actually, it's actually right behind me. I haven't put it up. I just took it down from my office.
I was gonna say your name though. You still can't show it.
I know. Yeah. Hard pass on that. Now
you work so hard, man.
What's that?
You work so hard, dude. You're so smart.
Aww. What a fucking life, man.
Yeah. Oh, dude. So go back to the Versace story.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this guy. The pictures are going through the little slideshow, and it shows him killing it at like a big Ivy League school, law school, and it shows him coming through the ranks of his law firm. This guy made it big. Like, think of the top actors in Hollywood. He was the lawyer, like a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
And then it shows pictures of this family, and you're like, wow, man, this guy really made it, dude. You know, like, sweet. And then, like, a second later, they're like, oh, now let's present so-and-so. And this guy came out with, like, 4 girls on each arm. And he's like, what's up, my niggas? And it's like, and the girls are, like, half naked. And I'm like, what? Like, are you kidding me? Versace Mansion, dude. And then they got crazy. Like, I was serving hors d'oeuvres, like, little, like, piggies in a blanket. And there's just, like, everything you could think of happening. and some kind of like Eyes Wide Shut party was happening around me, dude.
What?
Like, yeah, it was crazy, man.
With like Wesley Snipes in the middle of it.
He's all fighting off vampires. Like,
right.
I'm just serving orders.
While simultaneously not paying taxes.
Oh, that was right before he went to jail, dude.
Oh,
and like I remember he was actually talking to like a little kid that happened to be there. Must have been in a playroom or something. Wasn't in the party. But I remember his wife was like, yeah, like, oh, you do Taekwondo? Yeah, my husband here does martial arts too. And I was like, yo, bitch, you better respect. That's not a fucking blade. All right?
Like after, dude, like right when that happened, did they start playing this music? He pulls out a sword, like draws that circle on the ground.
You just sword to get the pick you off a blanket.
Oh my god,
it's like
that's like 2 copyright hits in one video. $0 for this one. Like I give a shit. Like,
dude,
like Google sent me a letter and they were like, hey, log in to collect your like 80 whole dollars or whatever you need on ad revenue. I'm just like, oh, what's the fucking point? This is ridiculous.
No, but dude, this is like this type of stuff that I want to hear. I mean, like, they probably don't want to hear my voice because I sound kind of airheady and I'm like slow talking SoCal voice, you know?
Yeah, you do sound like you're legally retarded. Get out of here.
It doesn't help either that I have this like echo in my ear. So every time I hear myself talk, I'm like talking over myself.
Dude, hey, super off topic. Are you watching Game of Thrones? I don't want to accidentally give anybody spoilers, but like I'm so fucking like I could turn this into a Game of Thrones chat show so fast.
Dude, who's Azor Ahai?
Fast. What?
Who's Azor Ahai?
Well, I mean that's so complicated between the two of them. Like between the two options, and then
it has to come from Targaryen blood, dude.
What's that?
It has to come from Targaryen. Has to be from Targaryen blood.
Well, yeah, and both of them are from Targaryen. In fact, Tyrion's from Targaryen blood too, obviously.
That's a conspiracy theory, though.
No, it's not really that much of a conspiracy theory. Did you read all the books? Ooh. Like, it's pretty.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, like, Tyrion's got like one of in the books. He's got the 2 different colored eyes, and one of them's like the Targaryen eye. He's obviously already got the blonde hair. Tywin was like. Everybody knew that Aerys, like the Mad King Aerys, had a thing for Tywin's wife, and that Tywin Aerys took liberties with her like on the wedding night, which would imply that it was Jaime and Cersei who are the Targaryen kids. But like, there's much more consistency with the Tyrion stuff because, like, all right, think about this. So Jon and Daenerys like both killed their moms at birth too, and so did Tyrion. He killed Joanna Lannister at his birth, and then he had that moment with the dragon, who is now R.I.P. an ice dragon. But, that was like a thing. So it seemed like, especially in the book, they're always like, the dragon has 3 heads. The dragon has 3 heads. Tyrion would be the 3rd head of the dragon.
People were thinking it was either going to be Jaime Lannister or even possibly Ser Jorah.
Dope. No. Fucking Mormont. Get out of here. Jaime would be, I'm hopeful that Bran turns out to be a bad guy. That's actually my, like, hope. That Bran is like... Yeah,
the Night King.
Right, that Bran might actually even be the Night King himself, because
like because of time travel, it was him talking to the Children of Forest.
Like even more, like how deep does this shit go? Because like how like there's such a balance to everything. Like we just got our ice dragon to kind of counterbalance like the fire dragons on top of that. Which, by the way, I've been calling for 6 years because I read a short story of his. He wrote a short story like that predated all this stuff called The Ice Dragon Once Upon a Time, and I read it in a compendium, and it like it's like it's like where all the White Walker stuff comes from. So I knew that there was an ice dragon coming eventually. Anyway,
what's it called?
It's called The Ice Dragon, but the compendium is like theme songs or something. Like anyway. Right, so, fuck, what was I just saying?
Oh, yeah, like...
So off blockchain topic. Fuck it, whatever.
Like, this could be anything, dude. We could talk about Filipino Asian prostitute, dude, or Pacific Islander, I'm sorry.
Oh my God. About, like, I could talk about Filipino Asian prostitutes all night, let me tell you.
Dude, who can't, dude? Come on. Blockchains, beers, and Filipino Asian prostitutes,
You're
dude.
ridiculous. All right. Oh yeah. All right. Yeah. So Tyrion killed his mother out on the way out of the womb too. So,
but didn't the Red Scorpion think that Tyrion was smashed against the wall?
No, that's
Because like then he did it in the mountain, kill 2 kids.
yeah,
Like
right. The Rhaegar's kids, yeah, with the Dornish girl, Elia Martell, Oberyn's sister.
So those 2 kids did die.
Well, in the books, they imply that one of them's still alive, and he's the one, the Aegon kid that's like sailing across. But like, there's much more evidence that he's a Blackfire, and especially since they haven't even put him in the show, he's obviously pretty irrelevant. So false dragon, and they took like the John Connington guy that's with him. They gave him the Jorah storyline with the grayscale. So who knows? But
yeah, Tyrion gets grayscale in the books.
No, Tyrion doesn't get grayscale.
He doesn't?
John Connington does. I don't think Tyrion does.
Yeah, I thought he does.
He gets taken under by the zombies, but that happens in the show too. I don't think he.
I could have swore he got the grayscale.
Maybe he did. It's been a while. The guy's taking a sweet ass fucking time.
What the fuck is he doing, dude?
Counting his fucking HBO money.
Dude, what if he was in the Asian prostitutes and he's like, I don't give a fuck, dude.
That probably
like,
is.
Why am I doing this?
Right. At that point, why not? Just be like, hey, I'm the greatest. Obviously, he's got some. You can just tell just from the writing, he's got moral ambiguities. Fuck it. You know,
they say to be the best writer that you have to write like you're dead.
Whatever.
Hey, mind you, everyone listening, this guy right here, if he ever gets his real name away, is a great writer. You should check out his books.
All right.
Well, I can't give the title of the book away either unless you want your real name to give away.
No, yeah.
He has multiple books. He has multiple books that's published by a big publisher.
No, all right.
They're going to figure this out, dude.
Yeah.
The internet will figure you out.
That's what I'm worried about. I don't want to figure me out. Fuck them. The internet sucks, man. Internet's like, so that's one of the, like, there's so many geopolitical issues right now. You know what I mean?
What?
Obviously. I don't know. Everything's just fucking crazy. But at least it all leads towards, like, all right, let's just isolate ourselves in the blockchain. Crypto will fix everything.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I'll be honest, dude. So before I started researching the cryptocurrency stuff, I was, like, watching all these videos on the potential recession that's going to happen, and it was just like YouTube Underground. And then
I track from that. We should be talking. I obviously I have so much like.
Oh yeah. So I'll preface it. So YouTube videos Underground were saying that recession is going to happen. Mainstream saying like it's stocks climbing, everything climbing. We're not in a bubble. Everyone Underground saying we're in a big ass bubble. Like nothing you've seen before, worse than the like .com bubble, everything. And mind you, I'm just regurgitating at like a 60% accuracy what I saw on YouTube. But now mainstream media saying this recession is going to happen.
Hold on, are they when you talk bubble? Are you talking U.S. markets or are you talking crypto markets? Just so I can.
Not crypto markets, like
U.S. markets. Okay.
Well, world markets. For example, like Chinese real estate, Australian real estate.
Well, everything's so intrinsically tied. In like the academic business world, it's called sticky powers. It's like one of the reasons that the United States and China will never actually go to war is because there's just too much to lose on every single side. Because we have such intrinsically tied trade roads. If we ever stopped, like we owe China a fuck ton of money, but if we ever stopped buying their shitty products, then their economy would topple too. So like we have to work together. We're just at that point where there's like it's just like a point of no return thing. Like we really can't go back. So that's one thing where economies, like global economies, especially with the technology boom and multinational entities and everything spanning like all these different countries, or the corporate flight that we've seen. The United States used to get a ton of FDI, which is foreign direct investment, where other companies would be pouring the money into U.S. companies. But now you're seeing a lot of U.S. companies because of our super high tax rates. One of the things that Trump's actually right about, our tax rates are way too high. So they've fled to different countries where regulations are much more lenient for them. Take Bitcoin mining itself, for example. America used to have like big Bitcoin mines, and then we just got priced out due to energy because of our environmental regulations. Energy just costs too much now. So then it fled to Iceland, where there's a big geothermal presence. Now you see it in China, where just because in China nobody really gives a fuck about the environment at all, and they're just like pedal to the metal on destroying planet Earth.
Don't they have like more windmills than the U.S. though?
When you got 3 billion people who gives a shit, I guess, you know. Like I guess per capita, they're probably doing better than we are. I don't know. I just know that. Yeah, if you go, make sure you wear a fucking full-fledged gas mask and mop suit just to.
Yo, dude, I heard Beijing is crazy in the winter with air quality. Like,
Beijing crazy in the winter.
Beijing, where you at?
Beijing is my city.
Beijing, where I hail from. Yo, dude, no, I was hearing that from a couple of friends, because I told you like a lot of my friends are Asian because I'm in SoCal. They are of Chinese descent, Chinese families.
I know.
And they go back home.
Chinese and Latin people you seem to gravitate towards. I don't know what
that's. Dude, they say there's like empty cities over there. Like they're like 5-10% filled. And there's like these high rises.
Just because it's so polluted?
Cities. No, like they developed too much like real estate, thinking that like because they built like a suburbs that everyone was going to move there because it's affordable, and then they put on the market these condos, houses, whatever you want to call them, before actually anyone had moved in, and then they got bought up like really fast. So a lot of people think it's like speculators buying off of speculators with the real estate over there, and there's like one famous city that's like supposedly a little bit more moved in now, but it's still like, I don't know, like a crap ton.
Oh, that's Guangzhou for sure.
Oh, that
no,
is?
I don't fucking know. Get out of here.
What the fuck?
Yeah, right? Damn it. Damn.
Yo, dude, you ever hook up with Asian girl before?
Shh. What the fuck, man?
Yo, dude, come on, I can't keep this like on the city person level, dude. We got look, edit out the shit that you don't want to hear, but leave the shit in that you don't mind.
My current girlfriend is half Filipina, actually.
Oh yes, dude! Fuck yeah! But nice in the house, dude.
Anyway, she is awesome. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so we were talking global financial collapse.
Yeah, dude. Okay, wait, hold on. What do you think is going to trigger it, dude? What do you think is going to trigger the recession? Because a lot of people think it's going to happen before October.
Well, so here's the issue. I've never really like credentialed myself on this show. Like I've never mentioned like my education background or what I did for work or anything like that. But so people know, if anybody's actually watched like an hour and a half deep into this fucking shitty stream, then I guess
how long have we been going for, dude?
I think it's been a while. It's like 11 in my time, so we've been cooking. Anyway, so I've spent years like working for different Wall Street firms, and I'm not gonna specify what role just because I'll just keep it. Anyway, regardless, we'd have a lot of talks. So every time somebody has taken over, literally every time, this was like a big talking point for us. Like every time that somebody has taken over for a 2-term president, like essentially in the past century, 100% of the time, there's been a big recession. But somehow we've managed to avoid that with Trump, like despite all the geopolitical turmoil and like news issues that have come. Instead, like consumer confidence is at an all-time high. Now, one of the things that do you know how like stock markets are priced, like stocks
based on like projections on how much they might be worth, right?
Yeah, so there's you have earnings, and then you have the number of shares outstanding, which is essentially effectively the like the same thing with cryptos, where you have like the price times so you have the price here, but then you also have the earnings, and then you have the share value. So there's something called earnings per share, or the price to earnings ratio is what essentially it's a multiple of what something's trading at. And price to earnings ratios are so out of control right now. And one of the issues is consumer confidence is ridden so high on Trump and so high on him being pro-business and cutting taxes and creating deregulatory environments that stocks have really gone out of control. Now, the issue is there really hasn't been any actual legislation passed. Like, we actually really haven't deregulated anything. We haven't cut taxes on anything, but we're pricing it like we have. We're pricing it like it's out of control. And, you know.
But he's talking about cutting corporate tax, right? Like, it's like, there's a corporate tax and an individual tax, but he wants to take away the corporate tax.
But here's the thing. He's been saying that, you know, since he was running a long time ago. And we've, like, unfortunately, like, nothing has happened with any of this stuff. So it's setting up a pretty scary environment. And who knows, maybe that's one of the things that's fueling the rise of crypto right now, is this geopolitical uncertainty with, you know, what's the US economy going to do? How's that going to affect the global economy? What about, you know, political unrest, like wars with potential nuclear war with fucking North Korea? Or what's going to happen, you know, in some of these destabilized terrorist countries, or a presidential address that he just gave on, excuse me, I got an itch, on Afghanistan, which was, you know.
Oh yeah, we're like, send more people over there. What the fuck?
Yeah, like, let's just stay. Let's just keep this fucking nightmare going for a long time.
Dude, I feel like sending more troops into Afghanistan is like living in a shitty neighborhood, and then you send your boy over to some messed up house where some crackhead family has been living for like ever, and you send him there for like a week to do intervention. Like, what the fuck is that gonna do? Like, dude, nothing.
All right, so like, obviously, as a prior service Marine who served in the GWAT in Iraq, in the global war on terrorism in Iraq, what we're doing in Afghanistan, like, real talk, is protecting our opium fields.
Yo, 90%, or yeah. I saw some advice, 90% of opium comes from Afghanistan.
Right, and we're the ones protecting the fields and growing it, and coincidentally, now we have an opiate epidemic in the United States. Go figure. No, dude. This is what's like, this is how we're paying for stuff. Like, trying to pay for the war over there is where we've now turned into opium growers and dealers.
Well, they found lithium over there, right?
What?
They found lithium over there, right?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Whatever. I'm not gonna pretend to speculate on bucket.
You have to wake up tomorrow, dude? Are you got to sleep for anything?
Huh?
You have to sleep for anything? You have to wake up for anything?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know.
Dude, this was so fun, dude.
Yeah. All right. So, man, I guess, should we wrap it up and then we'll just.
I don't know, man. Yeah, probably. So we got more material for like whenever. You know?
Yeah, we obviously gotta talk. I need to, you know, teach you about like getting into some other exchanges, and we'll start reviewing different altcoins. We'll start talking altcoins. We'll start looking at stuff and asking questions about what you're interested in.
We should end it with top tips: what to invest in and what not to invest in.
Okay. Number 1. Not to invest in Ripple. XRP.
The fuck, bro?
I know. For any Yakuza waiting at my door, I am armed. Just so you know.
Okay, what to invest in?
What to invest in? Dude, I'm such a super bull on Ethereum, but Ethereum's also so big that like you're gonna make really good returns, because I think it's just gonna continue and grow and grow. Especially in September, they have got their new their next scaling incarnation. Obviously not the final, but like to help them scale, they've got this Metropolis update, and then from there they're gonna get to Ethereum's gonna eventually switch to their 4th update. So they're currently on 2.0, which is Homestead. And then Metropolis is 3.0, and then 4.0 will be Casper, and that's the one that has proof of stake. That's going to be like a real game breaker. So, but proof of stake is going to be like, I wouldn't say a coin flip, because I'm much more like, I think but it's going to be a gamble. Like, it's either going to be like, holy shit, now Ethereum is like the thing, or it's going to be like, oh, that didn't work.
Okay, one last question, dude.
Yeah.
So Bitcoin released something like yesterday or today, right? Like that weren't supposed to release for a while.
SegWit?
Is that the SegWit? Yeah. Did that happen already?
Yeah, SegWit was a. All right, so dude, we don't have enough time. We definitely don't have enough time to talk about Bitcoin scaling debate. So, so Bitcoin had two factions essentially that developed, which is SegWit and bigger blocks. Like they were their scaling solutions. So bigger blocks just meant like, so the blocks were filling up and then the blocks got full, which meant that like it took a lot longer to process and fees were higher. And there were two different proposed solutions. Like you had, let's just make the blocks bigger, so there's bigger block room, which a lot of people believe that kept with Satoshi Nakamoto's vision. I don't really have a side on this. Like a lot of the people from my previous videos think that like I'm a big SegWit guy, but I honestly just think that the whole thing just has too much at stake for there to be such a fucking petty argument, and that everybody should be working together to try and rebuild like a better economy for the entire fucking planet than arguing over like these nuances. A lot of people, I suppose, will argue that the nuances are a lot more important than I'm implying them, and they might be right. But anyway, SegWit was essentially taking out like one of the things that they track just to create more block size by removing one of the elements. And the other one was just by making the blocks bigger. Now it's led to like a huge Bitcoin civil war where like subreddits are censored and people have really like human tribalism at its finest, where people like are essentially attacking each other. So you have
that's what I heard about. Like everyone arguing like on ZCash and Bitcoin, right?
Dude, yeah, they've been arguing for a fucking year now. So like the main Bitcoin faction, like the Bitcoin core developers, they're essentially backed by this group called Blockstream, this company called Blockstream. And a lot of people think that Blockstream is hijacking Bitcoin and essentially like corporatizing it. And that Satoshi's vision is this: you can just pay for like, you know, cups of coffee and everyday transactions and blah, 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 blah. And it probably is, but they also have like the other side has a good store of value argument. Regardless, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't fucking matter. Anyway, so yes, there was a fork called Bitcoin Cash that is essentially the bigger blocks as opposed to the SegWit, which has been implemented on the Bitcoin blockchain main chain. And Bitcoin Cash is the bigger block version, which is supported by Via BTC, has been the ones that have really been pushing it, who have been serving as proxy to Jihan Wu and Bitmain behind all this, like the bigger pool.
Jihan again, yes,
dude. It is Jihan again. So he's been like testing the waters with this just to see what kind of stability, like what kind of foothold he can get with it, which I'm, you know, nobody's intentions are pure. Like everybody's self-serving, you know what I mean? Like everybody wants what's in their self-interest. And I totally get that. That's logically, that's what everybody should do. But like, I don't know, the whole situation's just crazy. I just hope everybody, but who knows, man? Like, look at the value that's been made. Like, they made Bitcoin Cash out of fucking thin air, and they basically just.
And that's like 1,000 or something like that.
Well, it's like $700 right now, but on top of that, it's like $11 billion that was essentially just created out of thin air by making a fork. So there was supposedly this agreement between corporations called SegWit 2X, where they would not only implement SegWit, but they would also double the block size. And that date is coming in like a month or two. I can't remember. I don't know off the top of my head after like 9 or 10 beers. I don't know. But people are like, Core never actually agreed to 2X, so they don't want to do it. And then like bigger blockers already have Bitcoin Cash. But on that same note, like they managed to create like $700 of extra fucking value for all Bitcoiners just by doing this. So fuck it. It almost incentivizes them to continue to fork. You know what I mean? Fork all night long. Hard,
dude.
Hard. Oh fuck! All right, yeah. This is already long enough. I can't imagine that people are still watching this.
Yeah, there's no way, dude. The people are way too annoyed by my voice, my so-called accent.
Maybe like slur my speech, being like, "Oh, he's getting nuances of like this fucking all this crypto shit wrong."
So we pissed off the Australians, the Japanese.
You, man, fuck.
Jihan's sitting in the evil villain chair, like motherfucker.
Dude, he's like, it just shows him from the back though, like the villain in Inspector Gadget, petting that cat. Yeah, right. Remember that fucking? What was the name of that guy?
Gargamel?
No, that was Smurfs.
Yeah,
Gargamel was that Smurf life.
Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. But we should probably end it. And
yeah, we really should. We should have ended it a long time ago. All right.
Probably.
So when I get,
we should think about this in a podcast form, dude. Because you get to edit it from here, this point on. You can edit it out, dude.
No, go directly to podcasts. All my YouTubes. Like I actually get more. I have more subscribers on iTunes than I do on YouTube. Oh,
are you on Podcast Addict?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I just one night I set up like some sort of fucking thing where it just automatically uploads podcasts. I don't know.
Podcast Addict, dude.
Yeah, you know how super tech savvy I am. I'm just like,
dude, man, I miss you, dude. I was talking to you.
I miss you too.
No, dude.
God damn it, you did it again.
Well, you can edit this out.
Yeah, I know, but now I got to edit out so much different shit and like scroll.
Well, you can edit it from when I started talking personal on the end, you know? Now we're just talking me and you. Unless you want to just go off. Can we just turn this thing off?
We're going to have to do an official ending at some point.
All right, let's shut it down.
What?
Right here.
Huh?
3, 2, 1. Yo, hey, thanks guys for watching. Sorry for my SoCal accent. I hope you guys can get past it. I'm sorry. I'll work on the echo effect in my ear. I'll speak a little bit faster. At least 10%, 12% speed my speech.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching our inaugural intro test run of Beers and Blockchains. We'll see how this works out. We'll definitely get together and do this again once a week after I get back from Australia. So early September. Plus, I'm going to start putting more work into my channel. I'll show my face now. Now that I'm not so scared of potentially losing other things that I'll talk about that at a future date. So another thing, I'll answer I'll do an episode answering like YouTube messages or something.
Oh, that'd be fun, dude.
Whatever.
How you gonna answer 1,000 dick pics though?
All right. All right. So next episode coming Friday. That'll be a regular Crypto Times episode, and we'll do Beers and Blockchains again in a couple weeks when I get back from Australia. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks. Bye.